Hello friends, welcome back. And today I'm in On1 and I'm talking about their SkySwap AI. This is a little bit of a catch-up video. About a month or so ago, a little over a month ago, they made an update to their SkySwap AI technology. I wanted to talk about that and show a demo of that in this video. Now there's two ways you can use it. If you subscribe to On1 Photo Raw, the complete package, you got that in the most recent update. They also sell it as a standalone or a plugin, which would be the same product, which operates as a standalone or plugin separate app, just called On1 SkySwap AI 2023. And this is what it looks like. This is just an app. You select a photo. I'm using it standalone here, but it operates as a plugin from Lightroom, Photoshop, Capture One, all kind of the major kind of host apps. So if you use it as a plugin, you can do that. And basically you have two tabs, right? If you're familiar with On1, you already know there's multiple tabs in Photo Raw. But over here you have SkySwap AI and you have local adjustments, which I think is a nice add. Now, there's a key update here, which I'm going to talk about, but I'm actually not going to demo the standalone / plugin version simply because I do operate in Photo Raw. And so I've got this photo in Photo Raw. But I just wanted to point out that SkySwap AI 2023 is also available as a plugin / standalone app. Let me close that, and it gives you the opportunity to save and that sort of thing. I'm going to go ahead and cancel so I can pop into Photo Raw, which is where I am now. So as you can see, I've already cropped this photo, and I've done a little bit here in Develop. So if I show you the before, that's what it looked like, a little bit darker, and the after, a little bit more pop or pizzazz. Now, I'm talking about SkySwap in this video and demonstrating their new update. And I'm going to swap this sky, but I will admit this is probably not a sky I would normally swap simply because I like dramatic clouds. I like kind of just cloudy and moody kind of days. However, I want to show the technology in action. And so I'm skipping over what I did in Develop, but I do want to point out, take your time, use Develop, all of these tools. And I mean, this is a lot of stuff you can do here in Develop, and it really gives you a lot of control over your image. So take your time and do that before you jump into anything else. That's my personal preference. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is jump into effects, and I want to get some dynamic contrast that I want to put into that foreground. And if you recall, the beauty, or one of the beauties of On1 is that they have Mask AI. So I can just come in here and I can select the sky and click apply, and it builds a mask automatically for the sky that it's selected, and it looks like that, which is pretty accurate. However, I've got it in paint out mode, so it's actually flipped, which is perfect for me because I'm applying this dynamic contrast to the foreground. So just keep in mind, you have to pay attention to this paint out mode and that sort of thing. But now that I've got that in place, I'm just going to add a little bit of dynamic contrast. All I'm doing is kind of bumping up a little bit of that kind of crunchy look that dynamic contrast can add to a photo. I think that looks pretty good. And I do also want to point out that you can refine the mask. And so if you take a look at that, you can see a little bit of the clouds in the sky have not really been completely masked in or out, I guess in that case. Now there's a levels here that allows you to come in and basically move these level sliders around, and it gives you better and better control over the refinement of that mask. And you can see as I'm moving these sliders, I'm getting a pretty darn perfect mask. Now, you want to be careful with it, and you want to take your time and be accurate. There's some edges where I need to clean up, but I wanted to point out that you have some refinement tools, and this is not all of them, and there's plenty of things that you can do in On1 to refine your mask, but I'm going to go ahead and just back this off just a little bit, and then I'm going to use the Perfect brush, which does a great job of detecting edges, and what I want to do is come in here and just clean this up just a little bit. Okay, so I painted over some of those clouds in the sky, and I'm just going to come along this edge here, and just make sure you're in paint out mode because I'm making sure that I'm removing it from the sky. And I'm just going to go along these edges, and it does a great job of honoring, for lack of a better word, that edge and helping me clean this up. And then I move to paint in, and I'm just coming over here and getting some of this other bits of the castle, including, you will notice over here, and we're going to talk about this in the sky replacement section, but this section of the castle over here on the right-hand side, it seems to have missed that a little bit because the color is similar to the color of the sky. And so using this edge here, or using this Perfect brush along the edge, is really helping me capture that and add it to the mask. Okay, I also use the Perfect brush a couple of other areas, and I use the regular brush. Just wanted to clean that up a little bit, but if you look at the mask now, you can see how it's cleaner around the edges and generally cleaner overall. Now, while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and copy that mask because I'll be using that again. And in fact, I'm going to use that now with a local adjustment, which I'm going to go ahead and paste in. So you just come back into the masking menu, you come over here and click paste, and there's my mask again. Now you'll notice it's darker, and that's because we've got an automatic -1, which I don't want here on the exposure. I'm actually going to brighten it a little bit just to get it more in line with the sky that I'm going to be putting in. I'm going to add some structure to it because it's all man-made stuff. Well, generally speaking, there's ground and gravel, but the castle and all that, I just want to give that a little bit of extra kind of oomph. I'm going to slightly cool it off temperature-wise, so like a -5 or 6, and pull down the saturation vibrance just a tiny bit, just because I don't want to overdo it. And if you look at the before, there it is, and the after, that's the castle now. And so I've basically done my basic global edits on develop. I did a dynamic contrast adjustment on effects, and then I also adjusted the foreground. And now I'm ready for my sky. And so I'm going to click on Sky Swap AI. This is the Sky tab. And you click on this, and if you take a look at the mask, I'm going to click View. There you go. The mask is automatically detected. And you'll notice, much like with the masking on the dynamic contrast, some of this is missing. And so this is where I wanted to point out something new, which is there's two different methods now, or models. There's model A and model B. And so I want to show you the difference because it does have an impact. And this is a cool innovation in On1. So you've got model A, and that's the mask that it created. But if you come in here and click model B and choose that instead, you'll see a dialog box come up. It's remasking the sky, and you'll see it went in and found those edges and filled them out. So when you have a sky and a piece of your foreground that are similarly colored and the sky is overlapping, try that model B because it does work. And I think it does a great job. Now, I still need to come in with levels and just do some further refinements. And what I want to do is, I love using levels, by the way. It just allows me to kind of pull down this and refine this mask, kind of like I was showing you on the other tool a few minutes ago. And you can see, I mean, I've got a pretty nice mask. Now, I recommend taking your time. Like the very top of this is cutting off a little bit of that thing, I don't know what you call it, that sticks up on top of that turret. So just be careful and take your time, but refine those masks and take advantage of the tools, including levels, or try different models, model A and model B, to see how they overlap and interact. And now that I've done that, the sky I want to use is an Occudrone sky. Now, if you're not familiar with the Occudrone skies, I've got a link to them down below. There's 125 now included in On1 Photo Raw, but there's also a whole bunch of other ones that you can get. I'm an affiliate partner with Occudrone, and you can check that out at the link down below. There's so many cool things. I'm going to go into the categories here, and I'm going to go into this Seriously Stormy, which are just amazing skies. There it is. And I'm going to use that one, which is Seriously Stormy, #1. I love that sky. It's super fun. And that's really why I wanted to do this video, is because I love that sky. And it's a nice difference from the sky that I had before. So if you look at the before and the after, it's done a pretty good job. Again, be careful with your masking here. I probably pushed it a little too far with levels, but be careful around these little tiny edges. But I mean, overall, that sky replacement went in really nicely. One more time, before and after. And with the other things that I've done to the foreground, I think I've got them matching pretty well. So you get the mask in place, you get the sky in, you've got all these amazing controls, shifting the horizon. You can swap the position of the sky if you'd like to. I kind of like it like that too, but I'm going to go with the original. There's different edge adjustments, all that kind of stuff. These things have been there for a while, but that model option is really cool and new. And of course, it's in both the standalone / plugin version or in Photo Raw. But now that I've done that and shown you that, I want to add a couple of other things. I'm going back to the effects menu, and the next thing I want to do is add a photo filter. So I'm going to come in and click on Photo Filter, and the default is this very blue look. And I actually like that blue look. I think it looks really good, but it's way too blue. So you can do a couple of things to adjust that. The first one is I'm going to pull it down to about a 12 or so. Still very blue. But here's the other great thing about On1 is it's got luminosity masking. And so I can just click on Lumen, and it basically creates automatically and quickly, as you can see, creates a luminosity mask. So if you look at the view of the mask, remember white reveals, black conceals, and gray is just a variance, right? The more gray, the closer to black, the less will come through, and the less gray, the closer to white, the more will come through. And so it basically is a nice way to subtly apply and edit to a photo based on the brightness values. Now, I could invert it if I wanted that to be the opposite. Let me show you what that looks like. Doesn't look bad actually, but I like it the other way. So I'm going to invert back, and you can see it just adds a subtle bit of blue, mostly in the highlights, but there's a lot of highlights and a lot of soft gray, which means this is getting a little bit instead of the full effect. So I like to use luminosity masks in On1 quite a bit because I think they just come in super, super handy. Now, another tool that I've been using quite a bit lately is the sunshine tool. And what I'm going to do here is increase this to about a 70 overall. And my saturation is going up just a tiny bit, like a 3 or 4, something like that. I just want to give it a subtle little pop. But if you look at the before, there it is, a little bit darker overall, a little bit moodier, which is fine because that sky really is moody. It's a stormy sky. But adding the sunshine, I just like that. It gives a little bit of pop. You can see it creates a little bit of contrast, brightens up some of the highlights. I think it adds a really nice look. I've been using it on a lot of photos like this with interesting clouds, as well as like sunset, golden hour, things like that. It works really well in those different situations. I'm loving that tool. And the only other thing I'm going to do is something I do quite a bit, and that is to come in and add dynamic contrast to the sky, but in a negative way. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click paste, because remember I had that mask, but it was a mask for the foreground. So if I click view, you can see the mask is there. I'm just going to invert it and put it in the sky. And all I want to do is just reduce this to a negative number across all 3 of these. And all that really does is just kind of smooth it out. And that's personal preference, as is really all of my edits, of course. But I just like kind of a little bit smoother skies. It's just a thing for me. Dynamic contrast, putting that in the sky and going negative with the values does a great job of that. Although I honestly not sure how well you can see that in the video. That's at beforehand, and that's after. Now I could, of course, come significantly negative to really create a lot smoother sky like that, which would be very, very visible, but I don't want to go that high. I'm not trying to overdo it, just trying to soften it a little bit, just low teens kind of thing. And that's my whole edit. So let me show you the before. That's my photo before. Obviously a little darker in the foreground, completely different sky, and a little softer overall because it didn't have any of the details added. And then afterwards, sky went in beautifully with a great mask, even around those complicated edges, partly because of the Model B in SkySwap AI, a new Aquadrone sky, which are cool, and then take advantage of the masking capabilities, both the perfect brush, the regular brush, the refinement tools like levels, and of course, luminosity mask. You put all that together and you can really have a huge impact on a photo. There it is before, and there it is now. And let me just show you the sliding window. I always like to do that as well. And you can just see, I mean, massive, massive difference in the photo. And I think it looks quite nice, to be honest. I like that sky. There's a lot of great Aquadrone skies, of course, many of which are built in. And if you need more, they've got them on their website at that link down below. And that's it, my friends. Hope it gives you some ideas about what you can do in On1, because you can really do a lot. And frankly, it's just fun to do it. So thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with another video. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care and adios.